Welcome back to the weekend wrap. No production, just my thoughts. As always, please like and subscribe and share with a friend, a colleague, an associate, a relative, an enemy, and anyone in between. I appreciate the views, the comments, and everything else. So this weekend was one of those ones where you say you have a lot of A-side heavy fights. Now, most cards realistically are going to kind of be like that, where you got your prospects or like your up-and-comers, and you're just putting them in there with people that are supposed to give them a little bit of a test, but realistically you're not really expecting, or you might expect a competitive fight, but you're not expecting an upset or a 50-50 or anything along those lines. But in some instances, especially more so towards the Matchroom card, a lot of the fights there were actually 50-50 fights, or fights whereby the winner wasn't 100% confirmed, barring maybe the main event. We'll talk about that in a little while. But if we take it back to Friday, first of all, which was the boxer card at York Hall. So I got all of my predictions for this one correct. I only predicted, I think, 3 of the fights. So Anis Taj and Vidal Riley, I did predict that Riley would make it conclusive this time and get the knockout. I did say that it would be about sort of round 6, I think round 6, round 7, where it would happen. Anis Taj would basically walk onto something because he said that the punches didn't hurt him from the last time. Well, nope, he got stopped in the 4th. He took a lot of big shots. Or was it the 5th? It was one of the 2. Anyway, he took a lot of big shots. He did walk through quite a few of them, especially in rounds sort of 1 and 2. Round 3 and round 4, he had a good comeback. And I think sort of round 5, I believe it was round 5, where he basically, walked onto something. Got hurt to the body at one point, went down, got back up. And then he was complaining of like low blows, borderline low shots, but ultimately got taken out brutally with it was a vicious, I think it was a right hook. It was a right or a left. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it was up against the ropes. He was complaining to the ref. He was complaining to the ref. The right came in. He's looking at the ref like, help me. And then as he's done that, he's turned his head into the left hook, which has just left him laying on the ground. And it was all she wrote. Then we had Caroline Dubois against Yanina Dellacama Lescano. Now this one, again, I've felt Argentinian, like they can be a bit soft to the body, but if you're looking to try and take them out of a headshot, never really happens. But those Argentinian girls are super tough, and I did predict she might be, maybe get a round or 2 in there and just make it a very competitive fight. Work around Dubois, her hooks, work around her heavy, sort of the heavy-handed probes. But every time Dubois managed to get sort of the jab going, she was able to invest into the body, and that was where she had the most success. Towards the sort of the back half of the fight, you could see that she was starting to sort of flag a little bit, and that's where she was getting caught with some shots that she definitely wasn't getting caught with at the start of the fight. But it was a very good performance, very composed, especially under the hot lights and the hot atmosphere of York Hall. I was there last week, and yes, it is really that hot in there, and I think this weekend was hotter than last weekend, so I can just imagine what the fighters are going through. But yeah, she got the victory on points as I predicted, and she moves on to, I think they'll be putting her in a 10-rounder for her next fight, and then I think after that she'll be looking to fight for world honours if any of those belts start to fragment. Frazer Clarke versus Marius Vac, another fight that I predicted would go points. I think I did say that sort of between rounds 4 to 6, Clarke might step off of the gas tank and allow Vac back into the fight slightly, just because he's worried about conserving energy. It was a little later than that. It was actually around, I think round between round 6 and 8, I think is when he, sort of when he started to flag down the back stretch of that fight. But he had success in a few rounds. I don't know if there was enough to really give him those rounds, but he definitely did have success. He old manned him a little bit. And also, to be fair, I said that you can't get involved in the inside game with like just work from the outside, work the jab, work the stick, upstairs, downstairs, and just keep moving. Don't get involved in a grapple, because the guy's over a stone heavier than you, 3 inches taller than you. It's just not really worth it. But every time Frazer Clarke did that, it looked like it was more of an attempt just to try and get a rest more than anything else. But in doing so and getting that rest, you're also draining your energy, because you're having to try and push this guy back or stop him from properly leaning all over you. It wasn't a great watch, but it was a competent performance, and I guess it's the kind of performance that he realistically needs. You need to be able to go through these moments with these kind of opponents that either aren't going to go anywhere or are just going to be a horribly long, grueling fight for you to have to deal with. He won the fight comfortable as anything. Like, there's no adversity in terms of that. There's no there's no controversy about who won or anything like that. It just was a very sort of competent yet uninspired performance. He's obviously got to look a lot better in his next one, whomever that may be against. It definitely won't be the Fabio Wardley fight, we know that. But yeah, if we're being honest, like, as a pro thus far, he has greatly underwhelmed. A lot of that isn't his fault per se. Like, his matchmaking has been horrendous from the start up until now. He's maybe had 2 decent opponents within that time frame. Maybe you might say 3. But I'm not saying necessarily it's time to step him up, but it's time to put him in with some challenges, at least. But yeah, I mean, I've already told you guys kind of where my ceiling is for him, in my opinion. We'll see where he gets to. But yeah, that was pretty much that. If we move on to the Matchroom card, so in this one I predicted 2 fights, and based on method I got both of them wrong, and in terms of the winner, it was 50-50. So the funny thing is, the match I got wrong was Ramla Ali and Yulisa Guzman. Now, in this one particularly, in my preview video and the basis picks, I specifically said that Ramla has to basically box and move on the outside of Yulisa's shots. She's got to be selective with her shots and not commit, not stay in the pocket, and not try to trade with her, because she's been getting a bit power happy recently, because she got a couple knockouts on the record, and she's turning over her shots correctly, moving and transitioning from the amateur style. But I did say Yulisa Guzman is a very strong puncher and is very tough. Again, another Mexican, and we know how Mexicans are, especially when it comes to British fighters, even though obviously Somali and everything, but you know what I mean. I think she got too overconfident. I think she got overzealous. I think she started believing her own hype a little bit. I said if she goes in there and tries to trade with Yulisa, she's going to come off second best. I did expect her to just about get a victory. I thought that she would, have a lot of rough moments, but would keep and stick to the game plan, boxing and moving, which is her game. That's what she does very well. But she didn't. She sold out in the pocket, tried to trade. She tried to get greedy with her shots, even though she might have landed 1 or 2. She tried to go for the 3rd or the 4th at times when it just wasn't the right thing to do. She backed out in straight lines instead of angling off or rolling out. And ultimately, she got hit with several overhand rights that, you could tell that she really felt them. Eventually, she tried to exchange again. I believe it was in the 5th round. Got clipped on the way in, like she actually missed her shot, and Yulisa Guzman hit her. She stumbled back, fell into the ropes, got counted, but she was at that point, I think, was still just about winning the fight. Picked it up after that. So the 6th round I had it 3 apiece. 7th round I had it 4-3 to Ramla Ali. But with the point deduction, it would have made it, I think, a draw at that particular point in time. But it didn't need to go to the cards because you could see that she was starting to wilt. Her legs actually looked a bit shaky from even the 2nd round, almost like she just didn't have full strength. Maybe she did a weight cut not that great. But yeah, the show got closed in emphatic fashion in the 8th round. A left hook over the top from hell, flush on the chin, bang, she dropped. And you know it's always a bad drop when when your feet and your legs literally fold underneath you and then just bounce out, because a lot of the time that's not something you can do when you're conscious. But yeah, all the muscles just released and relaxed, and she contorted, and it's a bit apropos. She was laid flat out under the zone sign on the mat. I don't know if that's foreshadowing anything else, but I'd like to think not. It was a very bad knockout. It was a very bad knockdown. The one thing I will say, and I'm not saying this was going to change the complexion of the fight any way, shape or form, but I felt that the ref's count was extremely fast. First of all, by the time she dropped, he started from the 4 count before. As for me, I just about counted 3 and he was already on 4. It was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was like, I know that some people think it's a 10-second count. It's not. It's just a 10 count. Like, have a bit more of a cadence to it. But yeah, she didn't really get the chance. Even though she was trying to make her way to her feet, she probably wouldn't have beat a regular count. And if she did, she still probably would have got waved off. But I just felt it was a bit of a very, very quick count. That being said, Elisa Guzman, big ups to her. They're saying potentially her against Ellie Scottney next, which to me doesn't make a huge amount of sense, because they weren't planning on putting Ramla Ali in there with Ellie Scottney next. They had her go in the IBF route for hold on. Or was they? No, actually they might have been, because that was an IBF Intercontinental title. So yeah, maybe they were gonna look to place her against Ellie Scottney. I always thought they was looking to have the two of them separate trajectories, fight for 2 different titles, and then come together, unify with having Maya Ling Rivas there as well. But look, I'm not gonna say it's back to the drawing board, but at least now we need to see kind of the type of character that Ramla Ali has. If she gets hit again hard by someone else, does she get flashbacks? Will there be demons there? Because again, it was a very bad knockout. But yeah, big ups to Elisa Guzman. And if she does face Ellie Scottney next, Ellie knows that she's got to be on her P's and Q's, because she definitely. The one good thing about Ellie, she knows that she doesn't have the power to really trade and sit in the pocket with some people. So she'll probably do the boxer move and just try and take away some of Guzman's attributes in the ring. But yeah, see where we go. But I thought that fight was highly competitive, to be totally honest. The opening bout, Mark Davis against I can't remember the other guy's name, something too sharp. The Louisiana and the New Orleans and the Baton Rouge guys. That was a pretty fun fight while it lasted as well. Calderon versus Giasov was, fairly decent fight as well. But yeah, going to the main event, I thought that Regis Prograis would get a KO victory in around sort of the 10th round. I think I said between somewhere 9 and 11, because I've seen Zarea a couple times, and I just felt he wouldn't necessarily win the battle of the exchanges. Well, he used and employed a totally different game plan. He essentially, I'm not going to say he ran all night, because that's not what he did, but he stayed away. He was definitely playing keep away with the champ, and was looking to sort of, hit on the move, sort of pot shot here, pot shot there. And I think he got a legitimate knockdown against Regis in that first round, but I can understand why the ref didn't call it a knockdown. But I think it should have been. He got knocked down heavily in the third, and at that point is when he did just sort of plan to box and move and move and move and box and then move and move some more. It wasn't really a great fight to watch. I wasn't scoring it. It was late and I was half asleep. Even when I woke up in the morning to try and watch it again, I was half asleep and it wasn't really keeping my attention. It was just one of those ones whereby I've seen some people say that maybe the wrong person got the decision. I know Chris Andre said that he thinks that Zoraya won that fight. I will watch it again, but not from a scoring point of view, more so just for the technical breakdown that I got to do on Tuesday. But yeah, it's not really a fight that I'm going to be relishing watching again, if I'm totally honest. So I had three on my accumulator, which was Prograis by KO, Ramla Ali to win, and Aaron Aponte to win, who he also on the before the bell section of the card got a split decision loss against Xavier Madrid. So that mashed up my accumulator from then. And I was on my way. I had, everything from Friday was there. I even mixed in a little bit of football in there as well. Everything went well until Aaron Aponte. So at that point, I kind of lost interest in the card anyway, if I'm going to be honest, from my own selfish point of view. But yeah, look, but that also just goes to show you that one thing I rate about Matchroom and Matchroom cards is it's never a foregone conclusion that the quote-unquote A-side will win. We've seen more than enough upsets happen there to tell you that either the people they have on the roster aren't as good as they think they are, or they're just being matched correctly. 50-50 fights, that's what it's all about. No one really wants to see, one-sided beatdowns continuously. You want a bit of intrigue, a bit of suspense. Yeah, it messes up, it might mess up the accumulator here and there, but I'm all for it because the entertainment is there in the long run. Moving over quickly to the card that was on Showtime, which took place technically Sunday in Australia between Tim Tszyu and Carlos Ocampos. Again, 50-50 on this one. I predicted that Reece Salim would beat Sam Goodman. I thought it would be a UD decision. I hadn't seen much of Goodman, but I'd seen enough of Reece Salim to believe that he was, sort of the guy, and the fact that he went on the road, I felt, well, you don't really do that unless you're really confident. But hats off to Goodman. I mean, he lost the first half of the fight, but he swept pretty much the whole back half. Maybe that you could give Reece Salim a bit of one of the rounds, sort of between rounds 8 and 10, and maybe the 12th. There's potential that you maybe could have given a split in some of those, but yeah, Goodman, he was on the back foot, sort of getting beaten up, getting loads of heavy body shots in the first half of the fight, but from round 7 onwards, they just said, you got to win all these rounds, and he just went on the front foot and took it to Reece Salim. So big ups to him. I think now is mandatory for Marlon Tapala's IBF belt, I believe. So let's see what happens there. But he's one to watch. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research on him because I liked what I saw in the ring. Main event. I mean, I said that Tim Tszyu was gonna knock out Ocampos. I did not think it would be in the first round. I think I said the 7th is where I had it predicted, 6th to 7th round. But no, he said, I haven't got time to play, and his big thing was that he did it quicker than Spence did it. And I guess the fact that he did it at a weight that was higher as well, so that, Ocampos can't even really say that he was weight drained or anything like that, it speaks volumes. So now he's like, look, I just want Charlo. Like, give me Charlo. That's who I want on my record. He's gone in for that fight. I still don't think he's ready for it, but if not now, when? That's basically it. So big ups to Tim Tszyu. Second fight in 3 months, which is good activity for him. He likes to be active. If he can get another one in around about the October, November time, great. and then it probably will have to wait until next year to face Charlo. Now I don't know if he'll get that straight away, but if he can, and he can get that sort of October, November time, that would be a really good fight, and I'll be looking forward to watching it. In terms of in terms of all of the action, that's pretty much it, to be honest. Yeah, there was other fights here and there, but like I said, it was one of those A-side heavy type weekends. But there was a couple surprises, couple shots, couple upsets, which is always pleasant. That being said, I'm pretty much going to leave it there. There was a little thing with Oscar De La Hoya, which I've responded to a tweet, but maybe I'll address that in a video tomorrow if I do that. Don't want to put it in this one, but again, as always, like and subscribe. Please, thank you for watching. I hope it's fairly educational for those of you who didn't particularly watch the fights. Make sure you tune into the breakdown on Tuesday. I might be on Monday Night Smoke tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. I might have some plans in the evening, but if not, then yeah, we'll definitely be there. But for now, again, thank you very much. That's the weekend wrapped up, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.